Cirrus 8402 Quebec, Executive Tower, fly heading 080, runway 13, cleared for takeoff.
Fly heading 08013, clear for takeoff, 8402 Quebec. All right, 080, it is.
And 80 Whiskey Echo is ready, sequence.
Duke 80 Whiskey Echo, Executive Tower, hold short, 5-hour lease.
Holding short, 80 Whiskey Echo.
All right, everything's up. All right, pressure looks good, RPMs look good. We're looking for 73 knots. Rotate. Looking for 800 feet. Pops up. 100 feet. L dampener on. So you hear me calling out 800 feet. That's because the field elevation at Austin Executive is 600 feet. So which would be 200 feet above ground level. That's where I put the yaw dampener on as well as the flaps up.
Cirrus 02 Quebec, contact departure.
To departure, 8402 Quebec.
Skyline 26 X-ray, squawk 0201. Legion 1426, clear direct Alexi.
Direct Alexi, Legion 1426.
Approach Cirrus 8402 Quebec is 1,600 climbing 3,080 heading.
Cirrus 2 Papa Yankee, flighting 180.
180, Papa Yankee.
Cirrus 8402 Quebec, all set departure, better contact.
So this is a good lesson for low-time pilots, and I guess considered a low-time pilot as well, having about 500 hours in the air. But you always want to aviate, navigate, and communicate. So at the time, Tower told me to go ahead and contact the approach. So I did switch to the approach, but if you notice, I never actually called out to him until I was ready, because at the time, it was a very busy time of the flight. So the first thing I had to do was that I had to switch out of takeoff mode to heading mode. I had to make sure that I was flying the assigned heading. I had to make sure that the flaps were up, the yaw dampener was on, the speed was correct, and then I hit the indicated airspeed button. The engine temperatures were proper, and then I also like to actually get set up into autopilot mode before I contact approach. And all that took about 30-40 seconds before I do that. So another instructor used to tell me, Mark Irwin, in fact, that, hey, if they want to contact you, they'll call you. Okay, there's no need to hurry up and rush and call them just because the tower told you to talk to approach. They'll reach out to you if they need to talk to you, believe me. All right, so that's a pretty good lesson.
All right, we'll plan on vectors for the straight approach, 32 Papa Yankee.
Cirrus 02 Quebec, flying 140, climb and maintain 4,000.
140, climb maintain 4,000, 8402 Quebec. So as you can see, when approach did contact me, all they said was radar contact, and then went off and talked to all the other airplanes that they needed to talk to. It wasn't for another minute that they came back and told me to change my heading and also climb to a different altitude. So as you can see, it all works out. If they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you. So I fast forwarded to the first landing that I had here. I'm going to do a full stop, taxi back, and take off again. But we'll see how this landing goes, and we'll go to the next one. We'll rate each one of them. So I would give that landing about an 8 out of 10 for me. It's actually was pretty good, pretty smooth landing, pretty well straight down the middle. I could have stayed on the center line a little bit better right towards the end there, but all in all it was pretty good. Okay, this is takeoff number 2. So I do full power. I look down at the oil pressure and also the RPMs, make sure everything's in the green, make sure I'm getting the proper power I'm looking for, and I'm trying to stay on the center line, which I don't think I'm doing a great job of right there. Was a little bit left and got sucked up into the left turning tendency. So got to remember to do more right rudder as I'm going down there to keep that center line right down the middle. So I would give that probably a 6 or 7 out of 10 as far as a takeoff is concerned. So this is my base to final turn, as you can see, and one, I overshot the runway, so I was too far to the right and I had to actually correct it. And the second thing is I'm too high, so I had to correct that as well. But this is why I'm out here practicing, and you fly to learn, you keep learning. So I'm finally on short final right now. Looks like I'm back into a stable approach, and very long runway, so no need to panic to try to get down as soon as you can. So let's see how the landing goes. So you see here I'm slightly off to the right of the center line. I know that sometimes I have a tendency to be left of the center line, so I try to overcompensate it. But not too bad. I was able to actually come back over. And now I'm applying full power, put the flaps up 1 notch, and then go ahead and take off for my touch and go. The thing to remember with this is there's no rush to actually get the flaps up, and so make sure that the plane is stable, and then don't just jam the power all the way forward, or else it could have a tendency to actually swing to the left very, very quickly. So make sure you're stable and have a smooth application of the power as you're doing that. So once again, here we are, base to final turn. I overshot it just slightly, but not as bad as the last time. I am still high, which is frustrating me, so I'm trying to correct it. So let's see how it goes here. So the last landing was a little bit too far to the right of the center line. Now I'm trying to stay just off the right of center line, and then so if it drifts right back to the center line. And I would say that's a really good landing right down the middle there. Now I'm applying full pressure, and once again I didn't do right rudder enough, which is why I'm actually going over to the left, and I'm trying to correct it over here. And quickly you get back up in the air. So once again, here's my base to final turn, and this time I'm not as high as I was the last time, or the time before that. So it looks like it's a pretty good approach at this point. So it looks like I'm coming in very nicely, staying just to the right of the center line, which is totally fine for me because I know I'm going to drift back to the center line. And now once I'm on the ground, I'm very conscious of doing right rudder so I do not go off to the left part of the runway. And as you can see, I did a really good job. The problem I have is as soon as I lift off here, you'll see I start drifting to the left because I eased off of the rudder. You got to make sure that as soon as you lift off, that right rudder needs to be put in, especially with a 310 horsepower engine like the Cirrus has.
Skyhawk 7 Alpha Alpha, take your position.
7 miles to the 7 Alpha Alpha.
7 Alpha Alpha, roger. Plane to be number 2 following a Cirrus that's on the left downwind approaching midfield. We're running 31, port traffic in sight.
Number 2 and looking for traffic, 7 Alpha Alpha.
November 02 Quebec, make a short approach, runway 31, clear touch and go.
Short approach, 3-1, clear touch and go, 02 Quebec.
So as you just heard, a citation jet was coming in, so they asked me to do a short approach. I'm doing a short approach now, going base to final, and let's see how the landing goes. So I overshot the runway just a little bit, but I got it right back on the center line. I have a very stable approach at this point. Coming down, the speed is good, just slightly to the right of the center line, which is what I like. And now it's going to drift slightly to the center line, hopefully. And so that's a very good landing. And once again, I'm doing right rudder, applying, let's see if I can stay better than the last time. It's a little bit better, but still drifting to the left. Now I'm correcting it, but got to make sure I do more right rudder as I take off there. So just the opposite of the last time, they asked me to extend my downwind, which is why I'm so far away from the airport. So here I am, base to final, coming in. We'll see how the landing goes. Okay, this is the last landing at New Braunfels Airport. I'm going to pull off here once we get done, and then fly back to Austin Executive. So let's see how this goes. Looks like it's a pretty good landing, staying a little bit too far right of center line. But overall, I think that's a pretty good landing. So this last segment is not one of my proudest moments as a pilot, but it's also a lesson learned, and hopefully somebody else out there can learn something from this. So I was heading back from New Braunfels Airport to Austin Executive and receiving radar vectors the entire way back, and was told by approach to expect visuals to the visual clearance in order to get in. So in any case, I was receiving radar vectors, and he kept saying, hey, you're 10 miles out, 9 miles out, 8 miles out. Do you see the runway? Do you see the runway? Finally, when we were like 4 miles, I just said, yes, I can, even though I was like, it's got to be right there. And I 100% didn't. But finally, you'll see here as I'm making the turn, I am way too high to actually land. And so I made a decision almost immediately that I am not landing, told the tower I'm going to go around. So my old instructor used to say, look, you can go around 1,000,000 times. Never jeopardize safety. If you don't think that it's going to be a stable approach, or you just something, it doesn't really matter, feel right about it, just go around. So once again, I overshot the runway, but not a problem. I just brought it back to center line. I have a stable approach at this point, much better than I would have been trying to force it down. And let's see how the landing goes back into Austin here. Okay, pretty decent landing, just a little bit off to the right of center line, which I normally end up drifting back to center line anyway. So all in all, pretty good landing. Thanks for watching.